This is Chap Taylor, writer of episode number 98, Dr. Adrian Shaw. You're listening to the Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
All ashore who's not dying of an unapproved drug trial. Welcome to the Blacklist Exposed. I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. I just gave up my morning highlights searches just to talk to you guys about number 98 on the Blacklist, Dr. Adrian Shaw, which aired November 3rd, 2016. It was written by Chap Taylor and directed by Andrew McCarthy. I know Andrew McCarthy, not literally, but I know who Andrew McCarthy is. Show notes and other intel for this episode of The Blacklist Exposed can be found at theblacklistexposed.com.
Well, we asked you guys last week to answer our profiling question of the week, which was, where does the show go next?
Kathleen Brenner says, storyline for Wrestler would be nice. Yeah, I agree. They've turned him into background furniture so badly that most posters on the Blacklist Facebook page don't even notice or acknowledge him anymore. Diego is the third billed actor, second male lead, and he's been pushed aside for the advancement of one lesser character. It's frustrating. I sign on for a crime drama, not a soap opera. Ouch. Who's the lesser character?
Tom, I'm assuming.
All right. I'm with her.
Yep. Celine Albrill said, anywhere will be more interesting than the baby arc. Back to where Liz was still an adult. Back to where we're still all expecting some answers. Anywhere, but the baby arc was a huge mistake. I said it last year, and I still think it was. Now it's over. I really hope they'll find some clever line to play.
Sharon Greenberg said, back to basics. Agnes is forgotten like the dogs. Wow. I'm almost done with the show if the Agnes arc continues. So I'm seeing a trend.
Yeah. I'm really surprised that they're comparing Agnes to Hudson. That's pretty sad. All right. Krista Holder said, I would love to see Liz discover the real reason she is in so much danger.
Well, we all would. We all would. Linda Hood Cheney. I believe Red and Kirk are working together as counterbalances in the same global syndicate. Aha. We won't know that until next week, though. Susan's. Remember, I don't think she is Tom's mom. I think she is, isn't she? I mean, they said pretty clear. Well, whatever. Susan's husband is the American. The man in the woods has evidence he can use to frame Red, and Kaplan is going to have to act in a manner to protect Red's life. We will see the Panabaker's poker table and be stunned by the players around it. A counter cabal. I like that. Tom's past causes something that gets Agnes killed, or forever gone, and that drives a chasm between Liz, prompting his exit to redemption. That's interesting.
Wow.
I mean, horrible, but interesting.
No doubt. I actually kind of like that twist of Susan's husband being the American, if you believe that the American and Reddington were different people from the diary. That's an interesting way to still make Tom and Liz brother and sister, as some people might have thought back in the day.
I still think that would be a cool twist. I don't care how wrong it is.
Game of Thrones, right? Deborah Jean.
Yeah.
Deborah will kill the man in the woods. Not sure if Red will be with him when it happens, but hopefully not too late to save Kaplan. Panabaker will be cooperative with Red, and he may even get her a seat with the Cabal. I believe Red will hand Laurel to a wrestler with everything he needs to indict her, including the location of Wright's body. Tom will be revealed to have worked for Kirk, whether directly or indirectly. Keen 2 will split. I believe Elsie will make a deal with Red, possibly become a member of his syndicate. I believe Red will step out of Liz's life for a while. Once Kirk takes his last breath and Tom is gone, I believe Keenler will start to develop.
I don't think Tom will be gone permanently. I think he's just going to be gone for a little while.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he'll even be in both shows. Like he'll just do a cameo drop by or something. You don't know. I mean, there's a lot of ways they could do that.
Yeah, it sounds like it'll probably be more along the lines of, journeyed on this journey to find your dad. I got to go find this journey to see if my mom is really my mom. Even though it's her mom. They said in the press release.
I don't want that debate at all. I don't want that debate at all. I want to go hang out with my mom. It's fine. But is she or isn't she? No, I don't want that in two shows. I just don't. I don't think that would work. I think that would be trying the audience's patience. I don't think they would do that.
Well, I don't think it's going to be the is she or isn't she, because it was clearly stated in the press release.
Yes, clearly stated. So it's more of is she going to know that he's her son?
Right.
That's really what that is. And I'm okay with that because at least we know the answer. So, and that's what I want to get. Kara Adler, Kirk dies. His number 2 takes over and seeks revenge against Liz and Red. She really didn't seem to trust Liz last week. Well, she said it, so no, she doesn't. Plus, we get another dose of Get Me Out of Here, Kaplan edition.
Because, again, we didn't see her this week.
No, we'll see her next week. I'm almost sure of it.
Bill Steffen said Alexander is somehow tied to the Cabal, which leads to the big 2017 storyline that the show is teased from the beginning. Maybe some of those names that popped up on the fulcrum might start to surface.
And Stefan Smijbak. I know I said that wrong. Red, Dembe, and Glenn take a vacation to Westworld so they can help Glenn to find his inner self. I like that. I would love to see Red in Westworld. I think he would do everything. I think he would be the Man in Black.
I'd love to see Glenn in Westworld. That would be fun.
He would just be in the brothel all day.
Thanks as always for playing along at home. We're going to get down to the end, people. So with the spinoff close at hand, next week's question is...
How will Tom exit the show? What do you guys think? How are they going to... Because, I mean, he's coming back in his own spinoff when we come back from the break, right? So how are they going to get rid of him?
Yeah, would it be funny if he goes to the spinoff and then he actually doesn't leave the show and he comes back after the break and he's still there?
He's just making phone calls.
Right. Yeah. Well, before we get into this week's episode, just want to share a special message with all of you. Since this week's episode dealt with an incurable illness, I wanted to take a quick moment to talk about one that affects over 2.5 million people around the world. Multiple sclerosis, or MS, is a debilitating illness without a cure today. Symptoms of MS range from numbness and tingling to blindness and paralysis. The progress, severity, and specific symptoms of MS in any one person cannot yet be predicted. But advances in research and treatment are leading to better understanding and moving us closer to a world free of MS. With your help, by visiting goldenspiralmedia.com/MS, we can help fund the research to find a cure. Most people with MS are diagnosed between the ages of 20 and 50, with at least 2 to 3 times more women than men being diagnosed with this disease. Just as the cast of the Blacklist has their own unique superpower, we are asking each of you to use your superpower and be a superhero for those struggling with MS. As we enter the holiday season, we here at the Blacklist Exposed and Golden Spiral Media would ask that each of you pledge an amount to help rid the world of this debilitating disease. Every dollar raised matters to those affected by MS. You can pause the podcast right now and head on over to goldenspiralmedia.com/MS and make your tax-deductible donation so a cure can be found for MS once and for all. That's goldenspiralmedia.com/MS. Together, we can make a difference. With that, I don't want to be late for exercise class, so let's get to this week's case profile.
Okay, this week we start by meeting Adrian Shaw. And by the way, you could call this one a two-parter because it's actually a two-parter. So this is... I tried to talk Troy into, let's just do one big episode. And Troy's like, well, no, because some people will get mad at us. But it sounded kind of cool.
At the time.
We might have to end on a cliffhanger. I'm just saying. All right, so we start by meeting Adrian Shaw as she is secretly treating a patient with Stevens-Johnson disease, which Stevens-Johnson syndrome is a rare, serious disorder of your skin and mucous membranes. It's usually a reaction to a medication or an infection. Our mission is to hunt down the coroner. He runs a WITSEC for criminals. That's witness protection. For criminals, he basically keeps identities alive to give wanted criminals a chance to escape. And he's also played by James Wong, who was Lopan in Big Trouble in Little China, one of my favorite movies of all time.
You sat down and I was a little creeped out.
He sat down and I'm like, where is Kurt Russell? Where? We could have a Stargate reunion right now.
That would be so cool.
It would be so... Oh, I got so excited. Anyway, this is all to find Sonia Bloom, a.k.a. Adrian Shaw. We also find... Well, first I should say...
Doctor.
What did you think about this?
Adrian Shaw. Respect the title.
It's not Dr. Strange. Yeah, I don't think you carry your license if you go into WITSEC. I don't think it works like that. So what did you think about this storyline this week, Troy?
I kind of like the idea that there are people out there trying to find ways to cure illnesses, even though it might be below board. But at the same time, she was wronged, right, by the Lindquist Concern. So for her to be able to carry on her work and make sure something good comes into society, I don't think she's all that, quote unquote, bad of a person because these people volunteered for the drug trial. It's not like they were kidnapping people and then trying this drug trial on them. That would be a normal Blacklister MO. So with that regard,
they couldn't leave, Chief. I mean, they were kind of stuck there. They were on the escape plan boat, the prison boat.
Well, it's not that they couldn't leave. It's that they physically could not leave. What are they going to do? Swim home?
That's what I mean. That's still a prison. You can't leave. You're stuck there.
I'm sure there's corporations out there that are floating on a boat somewhere that are having secret testing and stuff going on in the world that we just don't know about.
So if I drag you out in the middle of the ocean and you cannot possibly escape, you don't consider that being in prison. You consider that vacation time.
I signed a non-disclosure agreement to be part of the trial.
It's good to know. I just want to be clear. Just good to know.
They volunteered to be on the boat.
Just remember this when you wake up and you're a little hazy.
With boils all over my face.
Yep.
What I want to know is the guy at the beginning of the episode, like how much of that was Guy acting and how much of that was animatronic? Because when he fell over,
animatronic.
Yeah, at the end, he looked really thin and really weird. So it looked like it was a mannequin or something when he was like, help me, and he keels over. Because he looked like.
Did you say mannequin? Because Andrew McCarthy directed this episode.
Exactly.
What?
Because he just looked really weird. So I was curious how much of that was visual effect and how much was that actual acting.
Gotcha.
Because it was really cool. It literally looked like he was withering away as he stood at the mirror.
It did. I thought it was just a dude with makeup, but either way.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, good. I like that he tied in the Lindquist Concern and closed that up really quick. I also love that Red has this weird sense of humor about where he's going to decide to put labs and use labs from people that had other stuff before. So for me, this had all the makings of a Blacklist episode, and I was actually okay with it. It was pretty decent.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
A lot of people were saying it's one of their favorite ones of the year, and I'm like, really? Because nothing gets answered. There's like no solution. It left you on a cliffhanger. That okay?
Okay, fun was last week. I think this was just more awesome mystery twists and red quisms. Is that a red quips?
I think Red was the most fun he's been all season, and I think
100%. 100%.
Yep. That led to the fun factor. He had the Highlights magazine thing was hysterical. So, by the way, love the show pulling back, exposing the Lady Curry as the ship at sea. That was really cool shot. So nice job, Andrew, because just watching it pull back and then seeing, exposing that the ship it went through the entire underbelly of the ship and then came outside and showed that it's a ship at sea. That was just a beautiful shot. You don't see that stuff on TV much, especially a network show. So it was very well done. I really. As somebody who appreciates the artistic portion of stuff, that really caught my eye.
That's the place where they store the anchor of the ship.
The bow?
Yeah.
Is it the bow? I don't remember.
Yeah.
I was in the Navy. You'd think I'd have this right off the top of my head.
Bow is the front, aft.
Let's move on. All right. When they storm the ship and find, all I remember are my dungarees, man. I just want them burned so quickly. They were so ugly. All right. When they storm the ship and they find all the sick people, it sounds like Shaw has created a way for DNA to repair itself using a process called CRISPR. And Red got to her before Kirk. Why? Why is the big question? Why?
And we assume that it's trying to figure out a way to trade something for Kirk. But, with this show, it might not actually be that. It might be something for the second half of the season.
I would think that. And you know why? Here's what I would say. If Red could easily just put in a plan in place to kill Kirk as opposed to going through all the trouble of having something to bargain now that they have him in custody. So I don't really see why he would go through all that trouble just to bargain for Kirk. Unless he thinks he's going to take Liz and he needs a bargaining chip, I guess. I don't know.
Well, the question is, why didn't he kill Kirk the first time?
Troy's question.
If you go back to Cape May, where he's like, I had to leave the father alive, and then he's up on the roof, and he's literally pleading with Constantine, this is madness. Mm-hmm. Like, that doesn't sound like a criminal. That doesn't sound like someone that has had a feud with Constantine his entire life. Doesn't sound like someone that wants to kill Constantine. Why does he not want to kill Constantine? If I'm Red, the criminal, and I want you away from Elizabeth 100%, why wouldn't I just put a bullet in your head and call it a day?
And why he was never on the list?
And why he was never on the list. Exactly right.
Maybe because he promised Katerina. It was a promise, like a dying wish. Don't kill him. Leave him be. He's already hurt enough kind of thing. I could see something like that as a dying wish.
or he's going to die anyway from his illness. So just let him disappear. And but
no, I don't think Red has that kind of sympathy. I think the only way he would not want to kill Kirk is because simply because he made a promise to someone or he gave his word of some kind. That's what I would think. That's my opinion. I don't see any other reason he doesn't try to kill Kirk.
Well, it's not the only way.
That's the only way I see that he doesn't try to kill him.
Okay, just want to clarify because it's not the only way.
In my opinion, it is.
Okay.
You can clarify all you want. My opinion is not going to change that. So your opinion might be different, but I don't think there's any other way that Red would not want to kill Kirk. I mean, unless he made a vow or a promise to someone, I see no reason. He kills everybody else. What's the problem?
Or their relationship status was such a way that they had feelings for each other at one point in time.
Oh, dude, I'm not doing it. You can bring that up if you want. Your mom theory has been burned alive. If you just want to bring it back because it makes you feel good and special, I don't know. Mm-mm.
Next week it'll be put to bed once and for all.
Well, that's what NBC's promising.
That's right.
I do got to ask before you get into the rest of this episode. So. Well, no, I'll tell you, I'll wait to the very end because some people might not have watched the preview, and I normally don't. I just, unfortunately, didn't get to the clicker in time, so I had to watch it. But we'll talk about that at the very end, just so we don't spoil anything.
Sounds good.
All right, let's go to music.
Music. The only song I picked up on of note this week was the one when Wrestler and Samar were searching.
Of note. Hang on. Of note. That was funny, whether you meant it or not.
I totally meant it.
Okay.
You just ruined my joke.
Right.
So we have Wrestler and Samar searching the ship, looking for the people, which, I don't know, did you pick up on this at all? I thought that was going to be creepier, kind of like the Baby Mama farm back in season 1. And she walked by one of the people, and when one of the people looked up, it almost looked like Megan Boone for a minute. And I kind of sat back in my chair. I was like, holy crap, there's clones? Like, that would have been cool.
No, it would not. I disagree with you on that. I don't think that would be cool. But go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, just the second person, the female that looks up at Samar as she walked by, kind of looked like Megan in a quick glance as she went by. I had to back it up and do a double take. But it was.
I didn't catch that.
But it wasn't. It wasn't. So I just said if it was Megan, I was like, that'd be cool. Clones is a neat story.
I don't agree. I think Clones is an awful story, but I didn't see that, so
that's what we thought originally with the Baby Mama farm. Is that maybe
I don't like clones, and clones are a soap opera thing for me. I just don't like them. I think they're a cheap way to get characters so that you can kill characters off, but they don't really die and they stay on the show. And it's just something that I think has been it's a trope at this point. It's a cliche.
That's why Orphan Black won an Emmy, but whatever. Okay. Moving on.
Orphan Black is a show that's specifically about that. So that's different than I'm going to introduce this plot element just so I can justify killing off people and still keeping the actors around. It's a cheesy cliche to me. It's not something I like.
All right, whatever. Agree to disagree.
We just agree you're wrong.
Because it's the plot of Orphan Black 2. But anyways, they're on.
That's because that's what the show is. The Blacklist isn't a show about clones. If it was a show about clones, it'd be different. It's kind of like Cylons in Battlestar Galactica. That's what the show's about, so it works. But it doesn't work. Something like Blacklist.
How do you know it's not a show about clones? We haven't been told what the show is yet. All we know is
this is you going full Heinrichs. That's what this is. I have no interest in a clone showing up on Blacklist. I just don't.
I'm just saying it would be an interesting twist since we've been dealing with the baby storyline for all season. It would have been something new. Anyways, the song that you hear as they're on the ship is called The Road to Nowhere by Radical Face. And really love the last verse of the song, kind of as it pertains to Liz and how she's feeling probably at the end of this episode when the genetic results came in that she was not the daughter. And it goes something like, in our eyes, they were always pointed at the sky looking for an answer. In our hands, they were stained in black and gray, busy solving problems. And our backs all bear the load of all the things we'll never know until it breaks us. And in the comfort of the earth, we will not wonder what we're worth. No, we will sleep soundly all along the road to nowhere. So, is that kind
What'd you get out of that?
It's kind of like where we are, right? We're still on the road to nowhere until we get some answers next week.
That's what you got from the song. Is that's what they were saying?
Well, and it kind of it really says the weight of what Elizabeth is feeling right at the end. She's like, here, I really wanted you to be my dad. I really did this thing to save your life, and now you're not my dad, so you manipulated me just like Reddington, and when will I ever get my damn answers? So as she's looking at the sky for an answer, solving the world's problems, it's literally, she's never going to know the truth because it'll literally break her trying to find the truth. Which is kind of like what Tom said to her, right? She's like, why do you need to know? Just give it up and move on, and let's be a family together and move forward.
Yeah, I do want to say this is the most sensible I've ever seen Tom in this entire show. I'm like, finally, listen to that guy. That guy's right. Listen to him. Made total sense. Let's follow that advice. I think that would be great advice. Odette is the lawyer, or whatever. What would you call? What is a relationship? She's Kirk's right hand, but also functions as a lawyer and a lover, and she basically just covers all the bases.
Yeah, I'm assuming
partner in crime,
Stockholm syndrome in a way. Maybe, who knows?
No, I don't think it's that.
The kiss was a little. I mean, we figured there was kind of something going on between the two of them when the hand touchy thing was happening a couple episodes ago. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the kiss was like, oh my gosh, they actually are together. And now you're like, that's a little strange. Like, why would that be? And so now you have all these questions about how did Odette come into Kirk's service, and
why is it strange?
Did she come into Kirk's service? Is Kirk actually working for her, and she just needed a financer? So that would be
strange. I don't get why it's strange.
Just because it came out of nowhere, right?
Oh,
it came out of nowhere, especially in the hospital with like guards and stuff watching in the hallways.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that. I'm like, is nobody noticing that this lawyer and client relationship is going to a different level?
Yeah,
I'm sure you can see through the window, but now we at least know what they are. She's basically his partner in crime, and I would assume right hand, and she makes the list as she's obviously the lawyer who charges by the hour, as well as the operation, because she has a plan to extract Kirk. And that plan is to fake a bus crash, get the patients into the hospital, and then we have a team on the ground. We have boots on the ground in the hospital to extract Kirk. Did you see this plan coming?
Oh, please. There's a bus crash. Yeah, sure there was. Oh, wait, there actually was a bus crash, but there were people on that bus that were supposedly from Kirk's army, which turns out to be true. So yeah, I was not faked by that one bit. I think I even put it on Twitter. It was like, bus crash. Yeah, right.
All right. I honestly, they got me. I wasn't even thinking about it. I mean, I thought they were going to use that. I didn't realize that the bus crash were just their team. You know, I like that. I didn't see it coming. I'll be honest. I didn't see it.
The one thing that I was surprised by was there was the scene before they all get on the bus, or kind of like breaking down the plan with Odette, and she walks by the one guy, and the one guy turns around and kind of looks at her. For a moment, I thought that guy was going to be an inside man for Red. Turns out he wasn't, but that would have been interesting.
Maybe it would have been better if he was a clone of somebody.
Could have been.
Mm-hmm. And you can use them in like 4 episodes a season as different characters. There you go. All right. Dum-dum. All right, Dembe said you could honestly say he was the highlight of the episode. Yeah. What? Banana returned. I thought that was pretty funny. But Dembe finding that sailboat ruining Red's fun was my favorite moment. Might be my favorite moment of the season so far, honestly. It was just so ridiculous and completely just out of left field.
Yeah, it would be this season's Michael Royer boat ashore.
It's up there with Quack Quack Bitch, is what I'm saying. I mean, it's up there. Quack Quack Bitch is a little more quotable, so I can drop that in random conversations, which I must say I have done quite skillfully this week. Somebody actually compared me to Scrooge McDuck at one point as a joke.
That's funny.
And so I got to drop it there. So thank you, Daniel Neff, for that little gem, and Amir. But now I'm going to have to do some highlights jokes. I don't know how I'm going to work those in, but it's going to be a little trickier. But I'm going to do it.
The thing I love about the highlights thing is that it exactly calls back to all of our probably age group that used to sit at the doctor's office. The fact that there's a highlights magazine at the doctor's office still, I thought A, was funny, and then B, the fact that whenever anybody brought up the highlights magazine, that's exactly what we all did. Was the find the stuff in the picture.
Yeah, that was the first thing.
Never read any of the other magazine at all. Just went to go to the spot to find the things. So appreciate the call out to our nostalgia from our childhoods. That was 100% fun.
I did read it. I usually read it cover to cover. So
that's because you went to a lot of doctor's appointments and were bored, so you had to do something else because you already did that week's version.
Probably Mama made me read a lot. Hated it.
No, you just went to the doctor a lot because you're messed up in the head.
It's possible. That is possible. Is banana like the pineapple for Blacklist now?
Oh, that would be fun. That would be totally fun. How many times would banana show up?
If you've ever watched the show Psych, which Troy and I are huge fans of, in Psych, in every single episode, and by the way, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's a joy. Every episode will make you smile, whether you want to or not. And in each episode, they had a pineapple at some point referenced, whether it be there or said or something. Pineapple was just like a running joke. And now that banana's been in like 2 in a row, I'm kind of thinking, maybe we're just going to start looking for bananas. I think that would be fun. Like, this is the highlights of the episode. We have to find a banana in every episode.
Dare I eat a banana?
I just like it. I just like it. All right, Tom finally had something that made me really like this guy. Telling Liz to just walk away. Why do you need to help this moron? He doesn't have anything to do with who you are. You are you, and all he has are memories. That's it. So you won't be losing anything. And he also finally has to talk with, which I've been waiting for this entire season. He finally has to talk with Liz about his mom.
And I love the way they did this, too, because trying to figure out how that's going to come up in just general conversations, like, what are they, like, making pancakes, talking about Uncle Flippo again? Like, oh, by the way, I met my mom last week. Little weird. So I love how they kind of work this into her wanting to find a father and do the good thing for him versus Tom in the case of I found my mother, but I was willing to walk away. Absolutely brilliant writing to bring that up. At the same time, I thought it was going to be a lot more explosive conversation and be the thing that triggers the move to the spinoff. And it almost seems like it made him closer so that Tom wouldn't be leaving to go to the spinoff. That's why I'm really interested to see what actually happens to make him pursue that next week.
You're really concerned. I haven't seen anybody as concerned about how Tom is going to transition in this spinoff. I don't even think Bokenkamp is as worried about it as Troy is. Troy's really it's a puzzle for Troy.
Well, because in my mind, I had this thing built up that Tom and Liz were going to have another epic rumble in the house, break some lamps, knock over some furniture, and then Tom would end up leaving.
Oh, yeah.
Because that would be awesome. But I'm sure it's just going to be like, Liz will be, you know what, now that this is finally over, you should really go find your mom. Or be with your mom. And
that's kind of what I expected was, why don't you go spend some time with your mom? We got this or something like that. But I don't, man.
But he's got to leave the kid. That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't think that would happen. Unless he took the kid with, maybe it's the only way to protect Agnes for a while. Take Agnes and go. I mean, but then you look at it from a parental perspective and I don't know. Is that any safer? I mean, your dad's in constant danger. I don't know. Agnes is kind of she's a linchpin for a lot of things in motion. I don't know how they're going to work it out.
That's why I think it's interesting because I want to see how Liz handles it.
Unless they decided to put the baby up for adoption, which I don't think either those characters would do. Neither one of them would do it.
No, I don't think they would either. I think that would be too cliche too, knowing that they were going to adopt and here they're going to put it up for adoption. So let's hope that's not the case.
I don't know. Would that be cliche? I mean, they might have a respect for the adoption process because of it, because they went through it and they know that there are good people looking to save children. And maybe Liz ends up doing the same thing that Red had to do with her, which is give her to someone else to raise.
So that would be
to protect her.
That's what I was expecting to happen. Like Liz would have to pawn her off I hate to say pawn her off, but pawn her off to somebody else to raise because of the situation. But not give her full up for adoption, because I'm assuming she would want Agnes back at some point.
Maybe, but that might be a way to protect Agnes for a time being. And also to get, maybe Tom has to work with Hargrave to get some information to help protect it. I guess I would love to hear what the listeners think. We'll know more next week, but I want to hear what the listeners thought on that.
Come up with a crazy idea, too.
Yeah, maybe Tom is actually Liz's mom. And had some cosmetic surgery because that seems to work in Troy's mind. So let's just go with that.
Well, that can't work because they actually did rock the boat. So
Agnes is a clone. So actually, Agnes is not Agnes. Agnes is Judith from Walking Dead. Because nobody knows where that kid is.
Exactly right. Haven't seen it for a season and a half.
Cooper has a conversation with Liz, but not your conversation, Troy. Even though they had this bittersweet conversation, didn't even talk about the fact that she faked her death. Did that bother you, or are you over it finally?
No, I'm over it because I worked up in my mind a way for it to not have happened. So I can let it go now.
What's that way?
The way is that Cooper was in on it the whole time. He was the person that Kaplan was talking to on the telephone before Red came in. And he faked the eulogy. That's why I was like, we know where she is.
Okay, I guess it could work. Sure, it's your head. I don't want to. I don't want to really go up in there and venture around.
But I was really surprised that he was so like, yeah, he's your dad. You know, no one would fault you. Seemed like he was in on the gag, talking to Liz about Kirk and his parental relationship to her. Cooper seemed like too bought into it to me.
He thought he was into it too much.
I think Cooper was in on it too much. Like he's like, he's your father. It seemed like he was overplaying it a little bit, not just believing like a DNA test. It seemed like maybe for your theory of Cooper's behind it all. It seemed like the conversation between her and Liz about Kirk and her decision seemed a little bit too easy. I think I don't know the right word to describe it, but it seemed like Cooper was in on something, that he knew something, or he was trying to lead Liz a certain way. But maybe that's because I was watching it based on your theory.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought it was actually a very reasonable conversation. Everything he said made sense to me. I think he basically, it was very thought out. It was a respectful argument and supported whatever Liz wanted to do. He sounded like a father figure. That's how I would have handled it. So it totally made sense to me. I didn't think he was stretching or reaching at all, honestly.
I think somebody brought it up last week based on when they found out the information, and Cooper just kind of brushed it off. Or it was when Cooper and Red were talking in Red's secret analog hideout. It seemed like they had known about this. Like Cooper knew that Kirk was the dad for a long time. So that's why it just seemed weird in the way they navigated that scene. Like something was up.
Mm-hmm. But interesting. We'll find out, I suppose. But I didn't think it was as nefarious as you do.
Okay.
I guess. Kaplan wasn't even here this week. Still chained to that Hunter guy.
Tracker.
And no.
He's a
Hunter.
tracker. He's a tracker.
No, they call him Hunter. His character's name is Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
So no, this one I win. Boom. The listeners did point out last week, so thank you for that those cameras are very common for hunters, that they use them motion sensors to detect when animals are in the area so they can find and track. There you go, Troy. Track and hunt animals. So that's what they use them for. So thank you for that. But she wasn't here this week, so we assume she's probably still eating some beans and rice or whatever somewhere in the woods.
Or they're not eating and they're still having the staring contest from last we saw them.
Could be.
What would be fun
if we come back and it's like 2 days later and they're still just looking at each other. Hey, what's up? Who's going to break away? Rustler tosses Barrera or whatever her name was around like a garden gnome after she attacks Samar. And the cartel lady basically leads him to the corner. Finally, he gets something to do finally as he confronts Red and is obviously pissed off. Red tells him to take the win, Donald. Just take the win. And Rustler has a face of disgust and decides to, no, I'm going to track this lady down and I'm going to find out. I'm going to get ahead of you, which I respect. At least, Rustler's still there. The character Rustler's still there. I feel like he kind of hasn't had anything to do this season, but he's still there. Yeah,
this was very reminiscent of season 1, Donald, where he had this disdain for Red. I don't trust the guy. I've been tracking him my whole life. Why now? Why is he here? It has that same kind of feel to it. And I like that side of Donald. And I really love the fact that he started to go on this tangent of his own. Granted, again, questioning the resources use from the government, but ended up going on this path on his own to find what Reddington was looking for. Again, just a little bit too late, Donald. Sorry. But yeah, it was good. I like the angle this episode. It really gave Rustler something to stand out for.
Mm-hmm. And that also tied in with Samar. And Navabi's finally back to Aaron-sanctioned FBI dress code. So thank you for that. And she I do want to point out, gets her ass kicked twice in one episode. Did you notice that? She got her ass kicked twice.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say she got her ass kicked the first time. They were wrestling and rumbling and tuffling, so it wasn't that she was actually losing.
Cartel lady was on top when Rustler got there and gnomed her ass. That's what I'm calling it. It's actually that's a description now. I mean, she was on top. She looked like she was winning that fight.
All right. She was definitely losing the second one.
Yeah, she was really getting whomped from the second one. So I think we need to have Navabi beat the hell out of somebody. Maybe Wrestler or Tom. Tom, there you go. Beats him into the spinoff. Kicks his ass into the spinoff. There you go.
She was channeling all of her rage for Elsie, so that's why she was a little bit off her game.
Elise or Elsie?
I'm sorry. You're right. Elise.
We get this confused because we do Westworld and there's a character that's, so we get it messed up every week.
The
so.
I's and the L's and they're switched around and oh my gosh.
You think she's still around or is she gone for a while?
She was arrested, so they either have her chained up somewhere down in the basement or, flew her off to Leavenworth or I don't know.
Which is where we keep prisoners. We just chain them up in the basement.
I was actually really excited when they said, speaking of people coming back, when he said, "Hey, do you have a helicopter pad?" I was kind of thinking we were going to see Alice from the Gin episode in season 3.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
It would be nice to see her kind of pull up with the helicopter and be like, "Oh, hey, she's back."
That would be cool. I would like to see that character back, honestly. Let's see. Well, regardless, she goes deep undercover in my favorite dress ever as she goes to dinner at Isabel's to find the coroner. And, of course, Red shows up just as the coroner shows up. So she was basically used as bait.
Yeah, unbeknownst to her. So I'm curious to see what her thought is on that exchange with Red later on. Was she like, I get it, it's part of the job, or she was like literally pissed off that Red undermined her? Mm-hmm. Especially after he's like, Samar, come on, just do your Mossad theater later, and touches her arm and kind of gives her like the back of the hand rub on her arm thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually didn't like how he talked to her in this. I thought it was really kind of
a douche move.
Disrespectful. Yeah, very much a douche move, yeah. Which I know, we were supposed to love Red and everything, but I'm like, that's kind of misogynistic, man. Seriously. You're being an asshole.
It was.
Aram. We gotta move to Aram. He didn't really do anything this episode. He had a whole episode last week, so I guess that makes sense. But he wrote an algorithm in like 8 minutes, so that was impressive.
Yeah, I worked on a PDF form for like 4 hours yesterday and still couldn't get my formula to work. So I'm going to call
He's writing algorithms. Those are a little more complicated, and he gets it done.
Yeah,
like that.
Calling Aram later to fix my stuff.
Can you do my PDF, please? So that's all we got out of Ram. But we had pretty exciting episodes with him the last couple weeks. So give him a break. He's tired. Whew. Kirk, he's charged with Article 18113B, acts of terrorism. That is an actual thing. That's not made up for TV. He gets pretty giddy that Liz calls him daddy. But then he goes all bloody, and he's already out of the box. I was kind of hoping for an episode in that box because I just love the Reddington box, is what I'm calling it.
I did too, and I was kind of thinking that same thing of, he's going to escape, and they're going to come and break him out of the box, and there'll be another infiltrate the post office thing. And then I was like, no, I do not want to see that. Please do not let me see that. And then it wasn't. So I thought that was really great.
Yeah. His aplastic anemia is getting the best of him, and he needs a transfusion quick. That donor is Liz. Says Liz is going to get all his money, too. That was kind of a cool little twist. Like, she could... Because, if they kill him before he gets a chance to change that will, Liz is going to be filthy rich, right?
That's right.
Whoop. That would be cool. Have her, go up against Reddington. She can take him on with the full steam of her own finances. Maybe she can offer Dembe a few bucks more, get him on her side, get Kaplan over on her side, and then suddenly Reddington's in the wind.
Well, we should make a public service announcement here that if you have wills, you should thoroughly check them out. Because being in a probate court situation recently myself, it's really trying to figure out terminology and language. So if it says your wife and yet you have been divorced or separated, well, then your wife doesn't count and it goes to the next person. So in this case, even if the will said, I give everything to Masha, is she technically Masha or is she Elizabeth Keene legally? And you'd have to prove it out and it would take a year to get your cash. So just FYI, check your wills and make sure they're up to date.
So if I don't have one, that's probably a problem, right?
You got kids. Yeah, it's absolutely a big problem.
But what if I want them to duke it out?
That'd be fun. Then I would put it in the will and say, in order to get my money, you got to have a wrestling match in the backyard.
I want them to wrestle, and the winner gets my Psych DVD collection. That would be great. And you know what? They'd probably do it. I love my kids. Go for it. Get them. My wife can referee.
I'm going to jump in there because I'd fight them for the Psych DVD collection.
Get in it. I'll throw your name in there. I'll just make this will up real quick.
I love it.
My kids and Troy. And they'll just go after you, man. You're done.
Yep. Tag team.
2 against 1. You're done. Okay, so now we know the big secret. We're going to talk a little bit more about it in a little bit. But now he knows the secret that she's not his daughter.
What?
What?
I was so surprised. I thought for sure. He was the
I
dad.
feel like Miss Scarlet and Gone with the Wind. I got to fan myself. I am so taken aback.
Wow.
Yeah. Whew. Didn't see that Did not see that coming at all.
Blindsided, like I got hit by a school bus.
Let's see how much longer we can milk that. Can you believe that happened? I did not see that coming at all. I really thought he was daddy. Man. I mean, if he says it, it's got to be true, right?
Yeah. Even though I held her at gunpoint and I held your kid over the side of a roof. Sure. Yeah. Dad all the way. 100%.
Absolutely. And total missed opportunity. I talked about this a while ago. The fact that Maury Povich did not show up
on the TV in the hospital. Come on.
He could, something, or maybe even he's in scrubs, walking by and hands her the folder. That could have been such a brilliant joke for that only a third of the audience got, and maybe a little cheesy. I don't care. It's just something I thought would be hilarious to have Maury Povich somehow in the screen somewhere. I thought that would have been so funny.
It would have been.
This is why I don't run TV shows, because I would totally cheese it up.
Yeah, we'd have. I mean, just imagine the guest star billing for this episode: Kurt Russell, Maury Povich.
I'd blow the whole budget for this episode. I guarantee it. I would totally have. I would have Kurt Russell in it, and I would have him next to Spader, and they would look at a doorway, and I would make them reference it like a portal of some kind. So, I mean, yes, I would blow the entire budget, and then I would have Kurt Russell and Lopan get together. James Wong. That's what I see. Yeah, I got a whole. Basically, I'm just recreating my childhood.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I would have Robert Downey Jr. show up. Andrew McCarthy comes from behind the camera. I've really thought this out a little too much. Okay, let's move on to Red. Red is the most fun he's been in forever. I talked about that. The lionfish thing I thought was actually a really good analogy.
It was great story.
Do you think he's right? I mean, obviously that came to fruition, that Liz ended up helping him. But do you... obviously, he wasn't shocked at all. So he knew that Kirk wasn't her dad.
Right.
So who do you think faked the initial DNA result that Liz read?
Katerina did.
You think so?
Oh, totally. Figured out a way to protect her daughter, 100%. I mean, she did work for the Russian government. She was sent to spy on this American, or Reddington, depending on how you want to interpret the journal. So, yeah, absolutely. I think she could totally fake the DNA results.
Okay. Well, Red needed Lopan. I did it again. Needed the coroner to find Sonia Bloom, a.k.a. Adrian Shaw. Some think to kill her, especially Samar. She thought that was the plan. But really, he just needs her. For what? We don't know just yet. And we kind of talked about at the beginning, but is there anything in particular that you think he really specifically needs her for? I mean, he gave her an entire lab. Is he trying to get her to cure Kirk?
Well, she was a hematologist, right? So that goes right into the whole blood and Kirk and all of that stuff. So it makes sense that he would want some kind of cure to hold over Kirk, potentially. Like, if you stay out of Masha's life, Liz's life, I'll give you this cure once and for all. Then you could go be whatever you want to be, just, stay away. So, I mean, that could be a potential thing, especially since he's not on the blacklist, especially because he hasn't tried to kill him directly for whatever reasons you want to believe. So with that said, it would be interesting, though, to see that this would be like a setup for something that's in the second half of the season, something that goes back into the whole, the Cabal and other players on the map in 2017 and, all of this other world of the blacklist that we don't know about because we've been so focused on, the parental relationship for the last 8 episodes. So I think it'd be very interesting to see what she would actually end up doing. But I actually thought the killing thing, too, from the get-go. I mean, that was literally the MO from before, right? Take out Covington, Dr. Covington, so the guy couldn't get the heart, so he could take over the port. His MO has always been to remove people from the chessboard, not add to it. And so I think, both options are interesting. And it's a great way to keep us guessing, because we think we know Red's MO, and now we don't.
Do you think maybe he's almost protecting Kirk to a degree because he feels bad for maybe destroying his life or with Katerina and everything?
Maybe.
It's possible. I mean, he seems to wear some semblance of guilt on his shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, just from that roof scene, right? The whole Constantine, this is madness. Like, you don't have that conversation if there's not deep-rooted history between these two men.
Well, especially after the baby's gone and he doesn't just shoot him in the face off the building. That says to me that he has a respect of some sort for him for some reason.
Right.
Interesting. I think that's one of those things where we're going to have to wait for the conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the last thing he does is we end up with Red telling Liz to get out. Get out of the hospital. Get out.
Now. Fast. Run.
Get out now. Get to the chopper. Liz, moving her, she's the last character. I before we get into what she did, and I know we've talked about it briefly, but now that we're approaching the mid-season finale, I'm really, really happy with how they've treated this character this season. I feel like they, she was very hot and cold, I thought, here and there. And I really believe that they have, and Megan has played it, they have really they've matured the character. The character has grown. The character is really come into her own, really established herself as a dominant portion of the show, rivaling Red, making her, where before it was always Red Reddington, and then Liz is an important part of the story. Well, now I think it's very much morphed into Red and Liz are equally important. And I'm glad that they made that work because it's very hard to do based on the show. And, Jane Spader's a great actor. And I really think they've done that. I really think they've adjusted the character based on other people's concerns from previous seasons. And I think we should pay respects to that.
Yeah, 100%. I love the fact that they gave her these quippy one-liners that she could throw back throughout the course of this first half of the season. The whole, I just need a barbed wire fence and a tower line I thought was fantastic. Her line this week, when they go to, because we talked about with Megan in the interview about how, we love when she rolls her eyes at the Red story. Mm-hmm. And then here she's sitting on that park bench is like, I really don't got time for this story, but if you make it quick. I thought that was fantastic.
I love that. Just cut them off. All right. Can we move on with this? Can we go?
And she's like, okay, fine, I'll bite. I just love it.
Red says when push comes to shove, she'll save him, and she does. Saving him leads us to the biggest reveal that we already knew but couldn't talk about because we didn't know, but we knew. But we couldn't talk about it because we didn't know, but we do.
Yeah.
Kirk isn't Liz's dad. Son of a bitch. Can we go on that again? I cannot believe that happened. I was not seeing that at all.
I fell out of my chair. I was so shocked.
I had to stop the TV, get up, walk around, did a circle. I did a 360 times 4. Then I sat back down, caught my breath, finished the episode.
Lily put my face in my hands in just disbelief. I could not believe that it came out that way.
Exactly. I wiped my face with the tears of Shippingtons.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, sorry. And I didn't specify. I said Shippingtons. I didn't specify which direction people went. Look, I respect everybody's fan theory. I just think it's funny because we all knew that Kirk wasn't the dad. I think everybody kind of knew that, but you do have to take it at face value because all the evidence they're giving you is that he's a dad. I'm like, I don't think you build 4 seasons of this and then that's the reveal. I just don't.
I love that you use Bokenkamp's words right there. Well, you're going to have to take it at face value.
I'm sure some people are going to be mad at me this week. That's all right. I love you anyway.
Hey, you know what? I could say the same thing. I could say I was wiping my face in the tears of the Keen 2 people because the Keen 2 people are getting closer to them being together. They're so happy.
I want Kessler. Can I have Kessler? I just want Kessler.
Keenler.
Tom's going to get his own show. What's that?
It's Keenler.
I like Kessler. You know what? I could do my own thing. It's what I'm predicting or what I want. So that's what I want. You know what? I want Kiaplin. That's what I want. Let's go crazy. Let's make something crazy happen. Why not? She's going to come back and she's all changed. I'm going to a different place.
Not
all right.
Not that we're shipping them together, but I just thought it's a cool name. And if you put Dembe and Red together, you'd get Dredd.
Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd.
I like it. I like it. Hey, we ship them together. Why not?
Why not?
They're two attractive
bros.
men.
They do highlights together.
All right. So here's what I want. Liz, go grab a vial. You're in the hospital. Real quick, grab a vial. And then the next time you see Red, get some blood and let's just end this debate. Just end it. I had asked our listeners because I could have swore at some point Liz ran a DNA test. Our listener says that didn't happen. Do you remember? Am I wrong?
The only thing I can think of is Oh my gosh, I'm going to totally forget the name of the episode now. Drawing a blank. The Warrior Gene episode. Was that Linus Creel? Mm-hmm. When there was the DNA test that was there, and then there was something about taking a DNA test or fingerprint or something, maybe with the front episode, that they thought they had something on Red, but Red's DNA hasn't been on file in the 20 years he's been missing. So I think there were hints at it along the way, but I don't think it ever actually happened.
Yeah. I could have swore, but apparently I'm wrong. If anybody knows, I mean, you guys are very astute and you pay attention. So if Liz ever ran one between her and Red, I would really like to know. I don't know why, but I swear I could have seen that, but I'm probably wrong.
My favorite part of the episode is when she calls up Red. Did you doctor the test? Are you going to believe him if he tells you yes he did or no he didn't? I thought that was kind of odd.
He didn't actually answer it though.
He didn't.
Just so you know.
He did.
Yeah, he did not answer the question.
Thanks
so
for
a
that.
lot of people were like we were saying, you're saying Katarina, but it could easily have been Red. I mean, he did not say no, and I know we go with the theory that he never lies to Liz. Well, he didn't say no.
Well, she was talking about doctoring the test that just happened, not the old test from before.
I know. I'm just saying, in reference, he could have rigged that one too. I mean, I don't know what.
Oh, he could have, because he said, I can't believe you would trust something that was easily so doctorable as a DNA test.
Exactly. Because he made that reference the last week or the week before, whenever that was.
Right.
So yeah. So it's curious. I'm curious if he had anything to do, but I don't think that was fixed, because then now you're really reaching. Now we've got too many. You can apparently fix everything, and you don't want to get in that boat. That's a dangerous boat to get in. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Kind of like the Lady Curie. So would you have tried to save him? Kirk? I gotta ask, if you're Liz, you're in Liz's shoes, would you have tried to save Kirk?
I would have done the give the platelets, the blood thing initially. Be like, okay, yeah, if this works, great. If you're going to stick a needle in my hip, hell no. Sorry, dude, you're screwed.
Really? Even if it was your dad?
If I knew it was my dad 100%, that's a different story. I have no clue 100%. I have 100% confirmation, sure. But in this case, I still don't have 100% confirmation, even with a 30-year-old DNA test. Because it could be doctored. You don't know how many people's hands that piece of paper went through.
I am 100% counting how many times you say 100%.
100%.
So that's 5. Good job.
You bet.
I wouldn't do it anyway, honestly. I would do the blood, but as soon as you're like, well, here, we're going to do this portion, and it could affect you, I'd start listening to Tommy. You're like, Tom boy, I'm starting to see where you're coming from, buddy, and I am going to pull away and just let this guy die. That's what I would do.
You're going to stick a giant needle in my hip, and then when I'm 60 walking down the stairs with Agnes, Tom's not going to be there to catch me because he's going to be chasing his mommy still, and then the baby's going to die. No, I don't want to break my hip falling down the stairs. I'm good.
Exactly. Of course, there are a big portion of your listeners who just went, okay. So I'm kind of curious what's going to happen with this whole storyline. Obviously, we know that there's going to be a mounted assault on the hospital, and this brings me to the preview. So if you haven't seen the preview and you don't want to know, then don't skip ahead about 3 minutes, because there's still more of the show. But skip ahead about 3 minutes. But we are going to mention it real quick, because in the promo, which you had a problem with the promo not too long ago because they told us Kaplan lived, which pissed me off royally.
And then
once I saw
literally didn't see her the whole season.
Yeah. Well, we saw her. We know she's alive, but still, the promo ruined that. And this promo, okay, specifically says, and they can paint any picture they want. Well, we didn't say that, but you said it. This next week, the fall finale, you will get the answer to the question everybody has been asking. It's going to be answered. That's what the promo says. And then it's like, are you her father? And then, of course, you have Red answering, what do you want me to say? As he's being tortured by Kirk.
Right. Which means because he's under torture, anything he says still can't be taken as a grain of truth.
Well, it depends. If they're giving him a truth serum and that sort of thing. Here's my question to you. Since the promotion says that it's going to be answered, if they don't, will you have a problem with that?
If they don't say 100% definitely that Red's the father? Or just the fact that I get an answer?
You can't. If that's 6. Just saying. Now, what was your question again? I got stuck because you said 100% again.
Is your question saying I'm going to be upset if Red's the father? Or if they give me an answer or no answer?
Look, I'm not going to be upset no matter what. Look, Lissington's, I wouldn't be upset if he says, I love her like I loved her mom. I wouldn't be upset if he says, I am her father. I wouldn't be upset if he says, I'm definitely not her father. I just want a definitive answer to that question. Is he or is he not her dad? I think the time has come to answer that question.
You've already got the answer.
You don't.
You do.
How do you?
Season 1, he's not the father. On the DVD in season 1, he's not the father. I've never lied to you. I've never lied to you. I've never lied to you. Never lied to you.
Understand that. But that can also, you can dance around that answer. You can dance around it because Sam to him is her father. I was a blood donor. There are ways to dance around that answer and not be lying. So there is a way around it.
The only thing,
which is what I think a lot of listeners understand, which is why they want Red to 100% clarify to anyone but Liz or something, just clarify where their genetic code lies.
They don't have a genetic code unless my theory is true.
Troy.
I'm excited. I would be so right next week.
That Red is actually her mother that had a sex change.
Drop the mic. That'd be so awesome. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it did, yeah, I'm going to not be here next week, so I'll drop a heart attack.
I might drop the mic and leave this podcast is what might happen. So you better hope for the sake of the podcast that it doesn't happen.
The only thing I don't want to have happen next week is have literally them saying, yes, I am her, cut to black. Wait 13 weeks for it to come back.
I would throw my remote at my television. I would pick it up and whip it good. No, I don't want that. So back to my question: what do you think? Because they're promoting the hell out of it, do they have to address it in some fashion? No,
they don't have to address anything in any fashion because I don't believe the NBC promos because NBC ruined my show. They could tell me the sky was black and I wouldn't believe them.
Well, my answer is it's time to put that to bed.
It absolutely is time to put it to bed. Once and for all, we just need to get an answer of some of the mythology so that we could set up a story for the next season and season 5 for, quite frankly, because all those people that are out there saying, oh, Blacklist is doomed, and it gets 11 million viewers over 7 days.
When did that happen? When did that start being a thing? I started seeing like tweets, well, nobody's watching Blacklist. I'm like, everybody's watching Blacklist. What are you talking about? Millions watch it.
And if they're looking at the same day numbers on Thursday night,
nobody watches TV on the same day
unless
it's like a water cooler show. Which Blacklist, it's a great show and it's fun. It's not necessarily a water cooler show because it doesn't drop major character deaths every week, which is really what like Westworld and Walking Dead are those kind of shows. Game of Thrones, those are the kind of shows you do that with. You don't have to watch Blacklist the second it airs.
And even those people that are watching it the second it airs, if that number has dropped. Number one, it dropped because it moved an hour, and it's freaking late at 10 o'clock at night. People want to go to bed, so they watch it the next morning or the next day. Or they watch it over the weekend because it's so close to Saturday, and they pick it up on Saturday morning. Mm-hmm. 2, it's moved into the 10 o'clock time slot on Thursday night, which last year for NBC was a graveyard. So the fact that they're getting even a 1 share in that time slot is better than what NBC had last year. So they would absolutely keep something that would actually be profitable in that time slot. So
yeah, when did that happen? Is it just because everybody is so knee-jerk reactionary to they just look at TV by the numbers or something like that? And well, it says that it's nobody's watching it, so nobody's watching it. I mean, this is a completely different world than it was. I really hate ratings anymore. Ratings do not actively or accurately describe the environment, the television environment anymore. They are so archaic.
And look, if you're out there looking at the cancel bear chasing down your show, I got news for you. The hunter tracker killed the cancel bear. All right, it ain't happening. The only way it happens is if it's a financial situation because NBC doesn't technically own the show. Sony owns the show.
Yeah, I would say it's coming back. Now, I don't know how many years it goes on for, but I see no reason why it wouldn't be renewed for a 5th season. They seem very happy with the numbers. NBC seems happy with the numbers. The only people that aren't happy with are a couple of Twitter followers or tweeters that are just getting a lot of activity. And it's just, man, I've seen nothing to indicate that the show is in trouble at all. So please stop saying that. Enjoy the show, man. It's still a lot of fun. It's still a blast. I think the finale is going to be great. They better answer the question. Maybe the NBC promotional department should work on some advertising changes. But outside of that, I think the show's doing great.
I love that Joe Carnahan, Cardinal Joe on Twitter, came on against it and railed at everybody, too. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's like, stop it. Stop. I almost felt like he was going to roll up a newspaper. Bad dog. Stop it.
Good stuff.
All right. Well, you know what? The show's not over, so don't go anywhere. But please remember to download the Blacklist Exposed app for iOS and Android, and be sure to go even deeper into the mystery of Red Reddington by visiting our partner Blacklist site, theblacklistnbc.com. We'll be back with Red's Rhetoric right after this.
What if you could live your life without limits, where every desire you ever imagined could be fulfilled? This fall, experience Westworld, a show where every human's dark side will be revealed. After watching each episode, listen to Beyond Westworld, a podcast featuring humans and hosts from around the park, diving deep into HBO's illustrative narrative. Every hero has a code, and so do you. Download your itinerary and the show at BeyondWestworldPodcast.com or your podcast app of choice.
Welcome to Red's Rhetoric, that part of the show where we play 2 scenes from this week's episode, and then you get to vote on which one you think is better over at theblacklistexposed.com. Just look for the post for Dr. Adrian Shaw. Last week, 60% of you believe that Red has not lied, which means he can't be the father when the big reveal comes next week. As such, hashtag Red Lies was last week's winner. This week, our first clip comes when Red shares details about this week's case.
Have you ever been spearfishing? You should go spearfishing. I love spearfishing.
On the Ambergris Key, there is a reef.
There's a reason you felt this story couldn't wait. I'd love to hear it, but quickly if possible.
I have a Blacklister for you. They call him the Coroner.
I just got my baby back, my husband, my family. This can wait.
Lionfish.
Lionfish?
An aggressive, invasive species, threatens the local habitat, leaves destruction in its wake. Sound like anyone we know?
Whatever destruction Kirk has caused is over.
I took aim and released. In the water, it sounded like a dull thud, but the spear passed clear through. I'd already bagged 6 of them with glancing blows, tail shots, so I knew this last predator was mine. The destruction it had caused was over. And then it wriggled free.
Kirk isn't wriggling anywhere.
But he will, Lizzie, with the help of someone on the inside.
We caught the thrushes, arrested his mole. Who else is there?
You.
You think I'm going to help Kirk escape?
I think you're compassionate. You believe he's your father. When push comes to shove, your impulse will be to save him.
Fine. I'll bite. Tell me more.
Our second clip comes when Red and Samar share some exercise conversation.
Agent Nababi. Yes,
We know what you're doing.
I sincerely doubt that.
Dr. Adrian Shaw, you abducted her.
I kept her from you. There's a difference.
Yes, we would have arrested her. You're going to kill her.
You looked absolutely ravishing the other night.
We've seen her research.
What do you do to stay in such incredible shape? Calisthenics? Or jazzercise?
The gene sequencing technology she's trying to perfect, it's called CRISPR. It's supposed to teach your DNA to repair itself.
Maybe we should be workout partners.
Adrian Shaw was using human experimentation to cure people like Alexander Kirk. He either financed her research or wanted to use it to cure himself. So you got to her first. Adrian Shaw deserves to go to prison for what she's done, not to be murdered for it.
I'll see you in dance class, Samar.
Hello. Hello.
Which was your favorite this week? If you love a good spearfishing adventure, vote hashtag Red Spear. Or if you want to exercise with Red, vote hashtag Red Gym.
Okay, now it's time for Special Agent Intel. And I do want to say, before we get into this, I don't remember who it was. Somebody asked that last week, it seemed like Troy and I were getting into it, like we were having a fight. A bitchathon, if you will. And I just want to say, no, we just disagree sometimes on stuff. I don't think it's bad, or whenever it was.
We're actually spending the whole day together tomorrow, if you can believe it.
We are. We're going to bond. We're going to bond and talk about Blacklist and Westworld. That's a lie. We're going to watch the Packers win.
But then we will watch Westworld after the game.
Absolutely. And then we'll talk more about Blacklist and what's going to happen with the redemption thingy and what's going to happen with Tom. What's going to happen with Tom? I hope Tom's going to be okay. All right. Well, before we get into this week's episode, a big thanks to Mama Greenfield, who left us a great iTunes review, which she already has a great name, Mama Greenfield. So this is the best podcast out there. I enjoy listening to Troy and Aaron. I like the way they break it down, talk about each character, and the profiling question of the week. It's exciting how they include the comments from fans, voices everything in a podcast, and I can listen to them all day.
Oh, yeah.
How you doing, Mama? Yeah. That's my Barry White. You like that?
It was good. It's pretty good.
Thank you.
Helps that it's early in the morning.
You take care, Mama.
Thanks so much for the iTunes review. I really appreciate that. Again, if you love the show, go ahead and head on over to iTunes, drop in your review like Mama did, because Mama will make you some soup maybe as a thank you.
Oh, Mama. Now let's get into this. Wow. Let's see what all you other special agents thought of this week's episode. Kara Adler. So after that, Daddy Gate, Imposter, Other American Theories Still Live. Lissington looks like it's on life support with Kirk. Oh, they're already mad at me. Don't make it worse. Not willing to put a bullet in the head of Mommy Gate. Troy until we hear the words from Red. Oh, dear God. Stop it. Stop feeding bad fruit to this frickin' primate. All right?
I'm as tense as like the 9th inning of the Cubs game in Game 7 to see if that actually comes true, because that would be so epic.
Well, yeah, we should both say we are Chicagoans, and the Cubs won the World Series first time in 108 years. If you're sick of hearing about it, we don't care. What? Yep. Champions.
We knew it was going to happen too. You know why?
Back to the Future predicted it a year early.
Why? Yeah, that too. And number 2, 108 is a lost number.
Oh my God! All right, move on. You're
Marisol,
up. Marisol. This is where you killed it. You just killed it. We were doing so well, and you killed it.
Marisol Sierra. So it turns out Kirk is not the father, just crazy, like disturbingly crazy. I think she was in on the joke too. Liz should have just taken Tom's advice and walked away. Although I find it amazingly interesting and somewhat heartbreaking in his reaction to being ignored. It's like he knows now that there is no use fighting her on what she wants, and I could see that as a potential rift in their relationship. And oh my gosh, I'm not sure where Red has planned with that doctor, but I really hope Red isn't sick. I don't think Liz can take another father figure dying of terminal illness. This episode overall felt like a setup for something greater, but it was a good setup. By the way, I'm assuming Boz was the one watching Agnes while Tom and Liz were out, along with Hudson.
How many times are we going to compare Hudson with Agnes, man? That's not cool. It's a baby. Oh, Marisol. All right, Matthew Ham, he shared a story about a real Brazilian drug lord that actually used an extraction team to free him from a hospital. And obviously, we're not going to go through the whole story, but that's very cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it was a gunman. They stormed the Rio de Janeiro hospital to free a suspected drug trafficker, leaving 1 dead and 2 wounded in a shootout 6 weeks before the start of the Olympics. 25 heavily armed men stormed the hospital. That's crazy.
Did anybody do a DNA test while they were there? No? Okay. All right, Julie Wright, what a great episode. Can't wait till next week. Yes, I watched a sneak peek and it looks crazy. I never believed Kirk was her father. I still believe there's a third man. Man, everybody's making poor Katerina a hoe. There's a third man, the American, and Liz did kill him. I'm sure next week we'll bring out some big reveals from Red. Counting down already.
Mm-hmm. Rory said, back-to-back great episodes. Just please tell us already that Red is her father now that you've disavowed Kirk, or so it appears. Could Liz have had her memories and DNA altered? Possible. That's an interesting concept. We never talked about it that way. Could Liz be different?
What do you mean?
Well, because there's that whole, like, you have the warrior gene and the DNA profile on her, and the whole, like, the baby mama farm and all that. Like, is Liz even Liz? That's a really great theory.
Is Liz Katerina?
No, not Liz Katerina.
Just checking.
Stop it. No, is Liz the...
Liz looks magnificent for 55.
No doubt.
I'm just saying.
No doubt. No, is Liz Liz? Is Liz Masha? Is Liz somebody else?
I don't need more theories. I think we're good. I'm all filled up here.
Okay.
I'm good.
I'm just saying it's a twist that nobody's brought up before. I think that might be interesting and a way to keep the show evolving.
That is interesting.
You know,
that is interesting.
You talk about all this other, because of who you are, not because you're with me, but because of who you are. So that line now has more significance that Rory mentioned this. Good call, Rory. Possible.
Maybe she's a clone of Masha.
Yep, possible. Possible, but the way they seem to be setting it up, Red is her father, or we are headed for a Maury episode.
Thank you. Thank you. Everybody knows Maury is the father guy. Yep. That's who needs to be part of the show. Come on, people, do it. Do it. I swear it's not jumping a shark-ish.
It'd be fun. It would be fun. I like how they were setting up Tom leaving, and why is the FBI surprised at this point that Red is using them after 4 years of all of this? I can't wait to see what they hang with us in the finale, but as smart person just wrote, yes, you, Aaron Peterson, if you're going to put it out there, then answer it already.
Yeah, mostly because Rory said I was smart. All Rory. Thank you, sir. Wendy Davies said, welcome back to the Red that we love, sassy and funny one-liners. Oh, how I've missed him. This episode reminded me of Season 1, Back to the Basics. Red offers up a blister, or Blacklister. Whatever.
I love it. Blisters.
The FBI catches him. Shut up. Shut up. I cloned the word. FBI catches him. Red gets what he wants too. Everybody is happy. So we have a reveal, maybe a partial one, that Kirk isn't the daddy. It was also given that Kirk wasn't going to die in the hospital either. He and Odette planned well ahead. Will someone hurry up and hurt that Odette woman? She really makes my toes curl. She has one creepy dudette. Wow. Really don't like her.
I can't believe she used dudette.
The Dembe Red scene, classic. So on to the questions. Who planted that false DNA evidence in Kirk's SVR file? Someone from his past or the present? I kind of like Troy's theory that it's Katerina. That makes sense to me.
Well, I guess the question is that SVR file the same file that Kirk ended up getting, or not Kirk, Red ended up getting last season? In that case, Red did plant the DNA file in there to switch it up because he said, oh, crap, that's not good. And
that's why I thought it was Red.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I thought it was Red. Because to me, maybe he saw that it named somebody else the father, and he saw it and he said, oh, that's not good, so he switched it.
Yep.
That's what I was thinking. So what is Red going to do with Dr. Shaw? Finally, what the hell happened between Red and Kirk, particularly Kirk, to despise each other so much, yet they don't seem to want to kill each other. Or Red doesn't seem to want to kill Kirk, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind Parent Gate. Who the hell is Lizzie anyway? Boy, everybody's saying, who is Lizzie anyway? Wendy's questions. Note to Troy, notice I put parent just to honor your theory. I'm all for equality, me. Well, I'm glad you have rounded up people to support, to have their pitchforks and their torches burning, to support your theory that Red is actually Katerina with a sex change.
I was surprised because last season there was like, oh my gosh, if Troy brings it up one more time, we're literally going to come to Troy's house and we're going to stick a fork in him.
And I'm with I was one of those. I'm with them. I will help. I will show them where you live.
I am surprised how many people have actually like changed their tone, and it's like, well, yeah, it's possible. They don't believe it, but
cash money will do that.
Yeah,
mostly because just think how Spader would play that up. I think he'd have a blast with something like that.
That's why I think it's totally possible.
It's not possible. But go ahead. It's still fun.
John writes for strong female leads. Red's looking, or Spader's looking for a role that he could like totally chew up. Man, it would be perfect. It would be so good. Plus, I'd be right.
You and I disagree on what good is, but go ahead. It's your turn.
Neil said, so now we know how the patent from the Lindquist Concern figures into the plans, though we still don't know how it will pay off completely. It has to figure into the next episode and maybe part of the bargaining after or during the extraction operation. While guarding Kirk in the hospital, why has he left alone with his lawyer? Hello, thank you. Someone should have been keeping an eye on.
I do want to say it is completely normal for a lawyer to, it's confidentiality. It's fine that they were alone. It's just weird that nobody was watching them from the other side. You can watch them, you just can't
hear it.
Be in the room.
Yeah,
you can't hear them.
Yeah, it's outside the window at least. Someone should have been keeping an eye on that. Agree. Wrestler was sprayed in the face and still not a hair out of place.
It's true. Diego Hair Challenge.
Hashtag Diego Hair Challenge all the way.
Oh, boy. All right. Crystal Holder. Love the episode. Navabi back in her normal attire. Wow. I added that. Red and Dembe in the doctor's office was the best. Once again, proving Dembe is awesome. He can work with so little in the best part of the show. I agree. I love the much due discussion between Liz and Tom about parental bonds and who you become. To me, that conversation was more important than it seemed at the time. I agree with that as well. I thought everybody was more incorporated into the episode this week. I really hope in the end, Liz gets to save the day herself and be the one to beat someone's ass. Overall, I loved it, and I hope next week I get to jump out of my seat, screaming happy screams. I
just love that Navabi's wardrobe became a bit, and people are throwing it back at us.
Oops.
That's funny. Deborah Jean, I'm now heavily leaning toward the idea that Tom is actually Kirk's son. I believe Tom and Liz's DNA reports were purposely switched, and Dr. Shaw isn't there to save Kirk, but to save Tom, because the illness affects the sons, not the daughters. Red isn't about saving Kirk, he's about killing him, so yeah, that's where my head is at.
That's interesting.
That is super interesting.
That is interesting. That would mean that Kirk had an affair with Hargrave.
Yeah.
Huh.
And maybe Hargrave's husband is the quote-unquote American.
That's interesting. That's a whole lot of cross-pollination, but all right. I can go with that. Mona Jones. Mona. Everyone else find it odd that Cooper took it at face value that Kirk was Liz's father.
Thank you. See, I wasn't the only one. That's what I was trying to say. Mona just said it better.
Well, we just found out that Mona Jones is an alias for Troy Heinrichs. Leaving the Cooper knows more theory alone for the moment. I thought that Harold, being the mature agent who has seen it all, would have some reservations about Kirk's story. Then I got to thinking, what about the rest of the post office? What do they think about Kirk's story? My theory, Wrestler is running a Who's Your Daddy pool, and the heavy bets are on Red. But I wonder who's being favored as a long shot. That would be funny as hell if there's a pool.
It would tie it into his addiction story, right? Because he's a gambler.
I would laugh.
Sophie said, finally, some definitive answers. Number one, Kirk is...
Where? Oh, yeah, Kirk.
Kirk is not Liz's father. 2, Red didn't lie about Kirk being dead, since Kirk isn't the father. Right? Because he said, your father's dead.
Yeah, but see, and once again, I can also say that that doesn't necessarily exclude Reddington, because, and much like I know people are going to say, well, Bokenkamp said you got to take, you know what? Bokenkamp also told me at the beginning of the season, take Kirk at his word. You got to take him at his word. Well, I got to take Red at his word too, but there are ways to spin that she shot him. Maybe it was Red, and maybe that's when he believed he died and became Reddington as opposed to the person that he used to be. See what I'm saying? Killed him.
I see what you're saying, but it's too convoluted for the general audience.
I disagree. This show is convoluted as hell. It's fine. It works.
Because him saying that
it works.
Because him saying your father's dead, he literally could have been talking about Sam and called it a day.
That's true. Yeah. Wow, that is true. That makes more sense, and that works still in my favor. So I'm good with it. All right, continue. Sorry.
Nitpick. How was there time and resources to rerun the test when there was barely any to even run it the first time? Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
TV time. 24 style. I like that Tom stuck to his opinion and Liz to hers without them getting into some silly fight about it. It was also good to hear Liz admit that Red was right all along. Let's see how long that lasts. Lastly, I'm looking forward to the breakout. I love that setup with all the guys pretending to be patients. I did too. A lot of dudes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of players. It's Ocean's 11 now almost.
I do want to clarify. Some people have asked me throughout this week, what do I think? Because we talk about so many theories. Do I think that Red is or is not the father? And my definitive answer is no, I do not think he is. I'm saying that I can see it from other people's perspective that it's possible. That's all. Alexandra Meyer. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Wow. Yes. Last week was good too, but this is amazing. At last, we can drop the Kirk's the father idiocy. Wow. If you kill Daddy Gate next week, I swear I'll get happy drunk and we'll have the world's best vodka here in Poland. So much Red. And it looks like pieces are finally coming together. Like he's been planning something for quite a few episodes and it's leading somewhere, which I adore because it shows forethought. I regained a lot of my faith in the writers this week. I didn't lose any faith, but I get what you're saying. There was a few episodes where it struggled a little bit. The highlight scene, oh my God, spearfishing, Irish vengeance. Calisthenics, you have no idea. It just kept on giving. And the Liz-Red dynamic was great. Love Tom here, too. At least he's consistent in caring about Liz and hating everyone who harms her. No pass for Red, no pass for Kirk, and we just got our segue to redemption. I can already hear next week's, you have to go get answers. No, I want to be with you and our kid. No, my answer source died. I see your deep hidden desires to get your answers. You have to go. Liz and Tom, back and forth. Aaron, regarding your question about the DNA test, she 100% never got one. And
That's
as
8.
much as that, what's that?
That's 8. 100%.
No, that doesn't count because you didn't say it. She's 100% never got one. And as much as that makes no sense for Elizabeth Keene, the character, from the writer's perspective, I believe foreplanning on this plotline was exactly why. Also, people would just say Red intercepted it. Wrestler got pepper sprayed. Pepper spray. I laughed so hard I had to pause the episode. FBI's finest. Samar looked amazing. Yeah. Aw, Samar. And behaved like Samar again. And talked to Red. Love that too. The Blacklister was gross, but at least she's not transparent, which is an upgrade over most of the season. So, okay. Oh, and the money. Who else thinks Kirk will get killed next episode before changing his will? Cannot wait to hear your thoughts on this one. Yeah, I wonder about it. I think I mentioned. Did I mention that earlier?
You did mention that. We had a discussion about upgrading your will. Yeah. I know it was only like 20 minutes ago, but that's cool.
You know what, guy? I'm just saying, we were talking a little Westworld, and you couldn't remember one of the most important parts in the first episode. So whatever. Maybe you shouldn't be so judgy. Okay. Woo, that was a great episode, guys. That's going to conclude this episode. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at The Blacklist GSM, where we live tweet during the East Coast feed, and we use the show's hashtag, The Blacklist.
Don't forget to follow us on Tumblr, Instagram, and join the Facebook group. Just search for The Blacklist Exposed, where you can talk about the show, the podcast, or share exercise tips.
Just don't follow mine because I fall down all the time, apparently. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, listen from the website. But if you're really on the go, make sure you download our app for iOS and Android powered by Spreaker. You'll find all the intel and analysis about this episode for Dr. Adrian Shaw by visiting theblacklistsexposed.com. Big thanks for listening. Don't forget to answer our profiling question. How will Tom exit the show? Do you know, Troy?
I don't.
Do you know?
I'm excited to hear the thoughts and theories.
Oh, this just in. Guys, we finally have the results. Maury sent us this. No, John Bokenkamp just emailed us to tell us exactly who Red is to Liz, and he wanted us to break it on this show. So it's breaking. Are you ready?
Ready.
Are you ready, Troy?
Ready.
It's breaking right now. The answer is some bitch. Damn, we're out of time, guys, so we'll talk to you more next week.
We'll see you later. Until next time, I'm Agent Troy Heinritz. That's at Troy Heinritz on Twitter. And if you want to learn more about me, just visit, about.me/Troy Heinritz.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. You can hear me talking about movies and TV on the Hollywood Outsider podcast, as well as Remake This Movie Right. We are available at thehollywoodoutsider.com or on Twitter at H_outsider. Be sure to subscribe, download the app, submit your feedback, but most importantly, keep yourself off of the Blacklist.
The Blacklist Exposed is a Golden Spiral Media production. Find more of our great podcasts at goldenspiralmedia.com/podcasts.